Vivek ji.
Nice to have you, Dr. Vijayendra Prakash, and see you virtually after a very long time.
Good evening, sir. Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
And
Good evening.
a warm welcome to Dr. Rajiv Rai and Dr. Santosh Joshi for joining us.
Thank you.
We are just waiting for the virtual presence of Dr. Nesri. We were told by his office that he has been in a WebEx meeting ever since, I think, 11 o'clock in the morning till about 2:30 p.m. So we are hoping that it would have finished on time and he would be able to join us. He has been on a very long WebEx meeting. I think that goes to show how active the ministry is. I think with the new ministers also joining us in the cabinet, and the importance of the ministry growing, that we have now two ministers. We have a cabinet rank minister and we also have Minister of State. Amit, can you give me a quick update as to when is Dr. Nesri joining in?
सोडी जी, कभी आप दिल्ली नहीं आते क्या?
सर मैं अभी परसों ही थोड़ा फॉरेन ट्रिप से वापस आया हूँ.
ओके जी.
तो हाँ, आई वाज ऑलमोस्ट लाइक 4 वीक्स के लिए, लेकिन दिल्ली आया तो सर आपके दर्शन मैं जरूर करने आऊँ आपसे टाइम लेके.
लुक फॉरवर्ड टू मीटिंग यू.
लुक फॉरवर्ड सर, लुक फॉरवर्ड सर, लुक फॉरवर्ड.
हमारे जो कुछ अमाम के भी यहाँ मेंबर हैं उनको प्लीज बोल दें कि ताकि ऑन द 23rd 23 तारीख is Friday at 4 o'clock at the PhD chamber we will be having a physical meeting of the Amam AGM. तो संतोष जोशी जी, अपने आदरणीय त्रिगुणा जी, डॉक्टर राजीव राय, all the Amam members who are here should please attend the meeting on the 23rd at 4 o'clock. ठीक है डॉक्टर जोशी? डॉक्टर जोशी जी.
Okay sir, definitely we will be there.
थैंक यू जी, थैंक यू. देवेंद्र भाई से तो मैंने फोन पे भी बात कर ली है, डॉक्टर राजीव राय जी से भी बात कर ली है. डॉक्टर विजेंद्र, कैन वी हैव यू? अरविंद वचस्वी जी आएंगे आप दिल्ली में? अरविंद भाई.
प्रदीप जी, मैं तो आपके हृदय में always am there. तो मैं तो I will be there with you virtually this time.
Great, thank you. And Dr. Vijendra ji, what about you?
So as of now, the travel policy is not yet open for us here. But definitely we are with Tamam anytime.
Great,
So,
thank you ji.
Always. Thanks.
Thank you very much. हाँ जी, विवेक जी, any news? आज देवेंद्र भाई, हमारी रजिस्ट्रेशंस तो लोगों ने 125 लोगों ने रजिस्ट्रेशन करी है. तो अटेंड करेंगे, लेकिन अभी जो अटेंड कर रहे हैं वो अभी 50 आदमी कर रहे हैं. ये मतलब कंफर्म रजिस्ट्रेशन है जो कह रहे हैं वेबिनार में हम पार्टिसिपेट करेंगे.
तो फिर तो 50 भी ठीक है, और बढ़ जाएंगे अभी आस्ते आस्ते.
हाँ जी, हाँ जी. हेलो. अच्छा, ठीक है, ओके. देवेंद्र भाई ये बताइए आपकी समझ से कि थर्ड वेव आएगी क्या, और अगर आएगी तो क्या ये भयंकर होगी कि ठीक रहेगी?
नहीं रहेगी तो माइल्ड, भयंकर नहीं होगी
जी
अब ये नहीं पता, मुझके डिपेंड करता है ये तो पब्लिक के ऊपर, हमारे जिस तरह हम बिहेव कर रहे हैं
जी
रुक भी सकती है, लेकिन आएगी तो सही। अभी 2-3 महीने के बाद लगता है, सितंबर अक्टूबर में आ सकती है।
तो ये तो बहुत कष्ट पहुंचाएगी। मैं तो 1 अक्टूबर से प्रेसिडेंट बन रहा हूँ पीएचडी चैम्बर का।
कोई बात नहीं, तो क्या हो गया।
ओहो, नहीं बट एक बात होती, एक मतलब जूम मीटिंग्स एंड दीज वेबिनार्स आर वेरी गुड, बट जो एक फिजिकल जो छूना होता है ना, दैट इज आल्सो वेरी बिग थिंग।
हाँ वो तो है, वो तो है।
हाँ जी, हाँ जी।
Senior Vice President, the latest update is that Dr. Nesri से अभी मेरी बात हुई है,
हाँ जी,
and he is still in that meeting, and he has requested that in case we can start the program, and as soon as he finishes the meeting, he'll call me and join us, sir.
ठीक है, बढ़िया।
That's fine.
So with your permission, I would like to give a formal start to a very important webinar today on innovation and entrepreneurship in Ayush sector, role of industry and government of India. This webinar has its own importance because innovation is the need of the hour in the Ayush sector, and entrepreneurship will automatically get its impetus because of the innovation, whereby the industry and the government can get together and create more products for the world. So a warm welcome to the distinguished guests, as well as our eminent speakers and panelists. And we'd like to kickstart the program with the welcome address by our Senior Vice President, Shri Pradeep Multani. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vivek Sehgal. A very good evening to everyone. On behalf of the PhD Chamber, I would like to welcome Padam Bhushan Shri Vaidya Devendra Triguna ji, President of AMAM and All India Ayurvedic Congress and Ayurveda Mahasammelan. Mr. Vivek has just mentioned that we shall be having our chief guest joining us, Dr. Manoj Nesri, joining us, advisor of Ayurveda in Ministry of Ayush. He shall be joining us very shortly. I would also like to welcome our eminent panelists for today's session, Dr. Vijendra Prakash, General Manager, Himalaya Drug Company, Dr. Rajiv Rai, Head Research, Dabur India Limited, Dr. Santosh Joshi, Senior General Manager, R&D, Hamdard Laboratories, India. We also have with us Mr. Arvind Varchasvi, Chair, Ayush Committee, PhD Chamber, and Shri Tattva, Mr. Jatinder Sodhi, Co-Chair, Ayush Committee, PhD Chambers, and Managing Director, Ayush House Private Limited, and today's moderator, Mr. Vivek Sehgal, Assistant Secretary General, PhD Chambers. Ladies and gentlemen, the Chamber has been working as a catalyst for the promotion of Indian industry, trade, and entrepreneurship for the past 116 years. It is a forward-looking, proactive, and dynamic pan-India apex organization. As a partner in progress with industry and government, PhD Chamber, with a special focus on MSMEs, works at the grassroots level with strong national and international linkages for propelling progress, harmony, and integrated development of the Indian economy. The Ayush sector is directly involved in public service delivery, largely to the underprivileged segment of the society. Innovations and new ideas aim to bridge the gap between traditional Ayush knowledge systems and the contemporary conventional knowledge practice. This is essential to promote integration and mainstream of Ayush systems in national healthcare programs, which have long been visualized to be the sole way forward. It is advisable for Ayush practitioners to innovate appropriate new promotive, preventive, and curative methods which are safe and cost-effective in specified areas of health hazards, including new diseases like COVID. Ayush professionals should be encouraged to disseminate Ayush wisdom among the masses at grassroots level for self-help. Besides, there is also a need for service delivery agents to think about developing workable therapeutic packages for special health conditions for which conventional modern medicine has not much to offer, such as treatment of intractable diseases, managing immunocompromised state, nutritional problems prevalent in rural areas, including anemia, chronic degenerative diseases, geriatric healthcare, and many others. One of the important means of attempting to strengthen the system should be to identify existing young talents in local educational and R&D institutions and to encourage and reward them for good work with incentives such as innovation fellowships, development funds, centralized training programs, and CMEs. We welcome the initiative taken by the Ministry of Ayush along with Invest India to promote innovation and reward it. At a recent interaction spearheaded by Shri Pramod Pathak ji, Special Secretary, the Ministry is proposing a competitive scheme to drive innovation. This is an excellent initiative, and areas like palatability, quality enhancement, new products development, working on immunity building products will get an impetus, which is much needed at this hour, not only for the Indian market, but as much for the international and export market. Today, we have dignitaries from Ministry of Ayush and Industry to share their thoughts and perspective about the potential of innovations and what will drive these even more in the Ayush sector. On behalf of PhD Chamber, I once again welcome you all and seek your active participation on this important discussion. Thank you. Jai Hind and God bless everyone.
Thank you very much, Senior Vice President, for your warm welcome address to all our esteemed guests as well as panelists and the delegates, and also giving a direction to this particular webinar to take forward the discussions on innovation and entrepreneurship. May I now request our chair of the Ayush Committee of PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Shri Arvind Varchaswiji, to share his thoughts with us on it. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Vivekji. Pranam Trigunaji, my very good friend Pradeep Multaniji, Senior Vice President, Mr. Jitendra Soti, my co-chair, and all the other eminent panelists today, Dr. Vijendra Prakash, Dr. Rajiv Rai, and Dr. Joshi. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. I feel that today's topic is definitely going to be a defining moment for the industry and as the entire sector as a whole. Innovation is extremely important for any sector to thrive. And for the very first time, we've seen that our sector has both the grant support of the government as well as from the industry side to really see that how we could bring across quality and also something meaningful in people's lives. This particular sector is a 5,000-year-old one. We've seen that it stood the test of time. And I'm sure that with the advent of usage of modern day technology in this particular sector, we would see a lot of innovation. It is important that we stay current with changing times. And to do that, it is very important that we innovate our methodologies, the methodology of treatment, or also the methodology of delivery of the medicine as well. So I feel that there's a whole lot of things and also scope that's there in our very sector for innovation. And I look forward to hearing from all these eminent panelists here today who have really been perhaps a catalyst and also stalwarts who've actually carried the industry on their shoulders for many decades right now. Going forward, as a sector, we need to ensure that we also rethink some of our principles that are there, and perhaps also see that how we could innovate by the usage of technology. Innovation comes with an open mind. And so therefore, we would also need to see that to stay current with times, what are the steps that we as industry and also government need to take to see that there's a particular framework that is created for innovation to thrive. Very important that young blood is encouraged in the particular sector. We need to see that innovation is driven both in the space of short-term and also long-term requirements. And also at the same time, see that we focus on some problems and challenges that what the sector has, and encourage innovation even in those aspects as well. So having said this, I'm very interested in listening to this very erudite panel of speakers, and I look forward. Thank you very much, Vivekji.
Thank you very much, Shri Arvind Varchaswiji, for sharing your thoughts and also setting the tone for the subtopics which we need to probably address during this webinar with the panel of experts which we have. But उससे पहले मैं हाथ जोड़ के निमंत्रण देना चाहूंगा और अभिनंदन करना चाहूंगा पद्म भूषण वैद्य त्रिगुणा जी का। और सर, हम आपसे मार्गदर्शन चाहेंगे इस बारे में कि जैसे कि हमारे सीनियर वाइस प्रेसिडेंट ने भी बताया कि मिनिस्ट्री ने एक स्कीम लॉन्च कर रही है, कॉम्पिटिटिव स्कीम इनोवेशन के लिए और एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप के लिए, तो इसमें हम आपका मार्गदर्शन चाहेंगे सर।
श्री प्रदीप मुल्तानी जी, पीएचडी चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स के सीनियर वाइस प्रेसिडेंट और जो इसी अक्टूबर में अध्यक्ष भी निर्वाचित होंगे, स्थान ग्रहण करेंगे। आज के हमारे सारे पैनलिस्ट अरविंद वाचानी जी और डॉक्टर विवेक सहगल जी, जितने भी आप सब लोग आज जुड़ रहे हैं, मेरे सभी को नमस्कार। ये जो विषय आज लिया है, इम्पोर्टेंट विषय है इंडस्ट्री के एंगल से। पहले तो मैं आज इस चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स में मैं आज आपके इस वेबिनार के माध्यम से प्रधानमंत्री जी का विशेष धन्यवाद करूंगा कि उन्होंने आयुष डिपार्टमेंट को, आयुष सेक्टर को विशेष उन्होंने इसको ध्यान दिया है, महत्व दिया है। हमारे डिपार्टमेंट में अब एक कैबिनेट मिनिस्टर है, एक मिनिस्टर ऑफ स्टेट है, ये बहुत बड़ी बात है। तो मैं प्रधानमंत्री जी को अपने महासम्मेलन के अध्यक्ष के नाते, अमाम के अध्यक्ष के नाते उनको मैं विशेष आभार प्रकट करता हूँ। दूसरा, अभी कल परसों न्यूज़ थी कि कैबिनेट ने फैसला लिया कि 12,500 सेंटर आयुष के जो है वो 1926 तक 2126 तक केंद्र सरकार चलाएगी। ये बहुत बड़ा निर्णय है। 1,200 सेंटर शायद शुरू भी हो गए हैं, लेकिन 12,500 सेंटर जो बनेंगे, यह आयुष सेक्टर के लिए बहुत बड़ी बात है। जहां तक इंडस्ट्री की बात है, मैं ये कहना चाहूंगा कि हमारी पिछले कुछ हमने 8-10 वर्षों में देखा है कि हमारी बड़ी इंडस्ट्री तो पहले से फ्लरिश हुई है। आयुष इंडस्ट्री बहुत फ्लरिश हुई है। उसमें केंद्र सरकार का, प्रधानमंत्री जी का, हमारे आयुष विभाग का, विशेष करके हमारे जो आयुष सेक्रेटरी हैं राजेश कोटेचा जी का, मनोज नेसरी जी का, इनका बड़ा योगदान है पॉलिसी मैटर के लिए। तो जो कुछ हमने पिछले इन दिनों में देखा है कि जैसे प्रदीप मुल्तानी जी की अपनी फार्मेसी है, पिछले 10 साल में मैंने देखा कि किस प्रकार वो उसको आगे लेके गए हैं। अमृत वाचानी जी अपनी श्री श्री फार्मेसी है, रामदेव जी की है। ऐसे बड़ी फार्मेसी तो थी, हिमालय है, वैद्यनाथ है और डाबर है। डाबर तो सबसे बड़ी, ये लोग तो थे, लेकिन जो ये आपने कुछ ऐसी फार्मेसियां पिछले 10 वर्ष में बढ़ी हैं, मैं उनका भी विशेष करके धन्यवाद करता हूं। अब उन लोगों का कर्तव्य है जो छोटी फार्मेसीज हैं, जो एमएसएमई है या जो अभी स्टार्टअप्स हैं, जो स्टार्टअप हो रही हैं, उनको भी गाइड करें कि किस प्रकार वो फार्मेसीज आगे बढ़े देश के निर्माण में और विश्व में भी, वो भी आगे जाके जाए, उनकी क्वालिटी अच्छी हो, उनका स्टैंडर्ड अच्छा हो, जिस प्रकार आप लोगों ने अपनी फार्मेसी को बढ़ाया है। और इसके साथ साथ में जो हमारे आयुर्वेद के चिकित्सक हैं, जो हमारे आयुष के चिकित्सक हैं, वो भी इंडस्ट्री के माध्यम से, इंडस्ट्री भी उनको जाके मिले, बात करे। और हमारे चिकित्सकों का भी फर्ज बनता है कि वो ज्यादा से ज्यादा आयुर्वेद और आयुष की चिकित्सा का उपयोग करें, औषधियों का उपयोग करें, शुद्ध आयुर्वेद की चिकित्सा करें, ताकि हमारा जो आयुष का जो ज्ञान है, आयुर्वेद का ज्ञान है, वो देश में, पूरे विश्व में जाए, जिसके लिए पूरी दुनिया लोग आज भारत की तरफ देख रही है। भारत सरकार और हमारा विभाग और हमारे अनेक जो केंद्र, जो हमारे प्रदेश सरकारें हैं, वो आयुष को बहुत बढ़ावा दे रही है। तो मेरा ये मानना है कि महासम्मेलन के अध्यक्ष के नाते हमारा सारा वैद्य समाज और हमारे सारे आयुष के चिकित्सक ज्यादा से ज्यादा आयुर्वेदिक चिकित्सा करें। और इंडस्ट्री का फर्ज ये बनता है कि वो अच्छी शुद्ध क्वालिटी की अच्छी दवाइयाँ दे, ताकि अच्छा, अगर वैद्य के पास अच्छी दवाइयाँ होगी तो वो अच्छी चिकित्सा कर पाएगा, लोगों में उसका प्रभाव होगा, देश में, पूरे विश्व में उसका नाम होगा। इस प्रकार की जो इंडस्ट्रियाँ चलेगी और सरकार जो नीति ला रही है, जो पॉलिसी ला रही है, इंडस्ट्री को बढ़ावा देगी, उनको बैंक से लोन भी आराम से मिलेंगे, आपको सरकार समय समय पर आपको नई नई पॉलिसी भी देती है, तो ये बहुत बड़ी बात है। मैं पीएचडी चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स को धन्यवाद देता हूँ कि आप समय समय पर ऐसे ज्वलंत विषय लाते हैं, जिससे कि ना कि आयुष इंडस्ट्री लेकिन बाकी जो इंडस्ट्रीज है पूरे देश के अंदर आप उसको आगे लेके जा रहे हैं, और भारत सरकार को आप अपने नीतिगत भी बताते हैं, नीतियों के बारे में भी प्रयास करते हैं। यह बहुत बड़ी बात है। मैं पुनः पीएचडी चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स का, विशेष करके हमारे प्रदीप मुल्तानी जी का और विवेक सहगल जी का धन्यवाद करता हूं कि वो इसको बहुत आगे बढ़ा रहे हैं। धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद त्रिगुणा जी, आपका मार्गदर्शन हमारे लिए हमेशा महत्वपूर्ण रहा है। और जैसे कि आपने कहा कि ये प्रधानमंत्री जी इस बात के लिए उनको हमें बधाई देनी चाहिए कि अब हमारी मिनिस्ट्री जो है और भी बढ़ के आगे निकलेगी, क्योंकि अब हमारे पास एक कैबिनेट मिनिस्टर है और एक मिनिस्टर ऑफ स्टेट है। तो उससे फोकस पता चलता है कि भारत सरकार का और हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी का इसमें बढ़ता जा रहा है हमारे आयुष इंडस्ट्री की तरफ, और आयुष के जितने भी सिस्टम्स ऑफ मेडिसिन है, और जिसमें आप बहुत एक महत्वपूर्ण स्थान रखते हैं, क्योंकि आप ना ही सिर्फ अमाम के प्रेसिडेंट हैं बल्कि आप आयुर्वेदा कांग्रेस के भी अध्यक्ष हैं। तो उससे ये एक हमें मार्गदर्शन रहता है कि हम आगे चल के इन नीतियों को और ऐसे कैसे बढ़ावा दें। तो बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद त्रिगुणा जी आपका यहाँ पे आने का। टाइम फॉर मी। और अब मैं चाहूंगा कि क्योंकि नेस्री जी अभी हमें नहीं ज्वाइन कर पाए हैं, अभी मैंने उनको मैसेज भी भेजा है, तो आई विल रिक्वेस्ट कि हमारे को चेयर मिस्टर जितेंद्र सोडी वो काइंडली अपने सुझाव सामने रखें। ओवर टू मिस्टर जितेंद्र सोडी।
नमस्कार विवेक जी, नमस्कार मुल्तानी साहब and everybody. I would like to welcome in absentia Dr. Manoj Nesri ji, Advisor Ayurveda Ministry of Ayush, Government of India, Padam Bhushan Shri Vaidya Trigunath ji, President Amam and All India Ayurvedic Congress and Ayurveda Mahasammelan, Shri Pradeep Multani ji, Senior Vice President, and congratulations Multani Sahab and we're looking forward to be our President, PhD Chamber, Mr. Arvind Vasachvi ji, Chair Ayush Committee, and all the dignitaries, panelists, and all the attendees. Very important thoughts has and pointed out and flagged by our Senior Vice President, India, which is the third largest center of startup in the world, has thrown up a generation of young entrepreneurs, of men and women with hunger and ambition. Government programs such as Startup India and the Mudra Yojana, which has provided capital of 120 million grassroots businesses, have seeded a culture of entrepreneurship, largely in services. The market strategies, including cost reduction and quality performance, will have to be evolved through alternative models of the healthcare system. It has to be acknowledged by the Ayush healthcare system is essentially pro-nature and holistic, as it indicates lifestyle modifications, dietary care, fewer drug intervention. The high cost of modern medical treatment is well known to consist largely of the cost of medicines, tests and investigations, surgical procedures, and the high professional fees of the practitioners. If these problems are solved with the help of an alternative model of healthcare delivery of automatically become a safer and more economical for people. The budget allocation to the Ayush sector by the Government of India should be adequately raised to increase the investment in programs and that promote the innovation and R&D. Such investment could be in the form of sponsoring R&Ds, which will definitely make it stand out as a different than the conventional approach. I like to add, there is a lot of folklore knowledge which is still hidden in India, and in a well-established manner, it is being used by our countryside people, and that knowledge has to be incorporated with innovation. There is also a need of development to develop strategies to promote this movement through the identifying innovation and opportunities, and by creating innovation ecosystem with the ultimate goal of bridging gaps in our knowledge and converting knowledge into services of the people for a better life and health. As Ayurveda has taken up a next leap because of the present pandemic, and there is a need of a lot of innovation, lot of R&D, lot of new entrepreneurs in this sector. With this, I like to say thank you, PhD. PhD is really doing wonderful in bringing with the their programs on Ayurveda and Ayush sector, and at the same time government is promoting it also. So this will bridge up a big gap which we are looking forward that Ayurveda should be the #1 pathy in the world and in India itself. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for joining us today, and I like to say thank you to Vivek ji special that he is so active with the Multani Saab's blessing. You keep on doing a lot of these Ayush webinars, and I'm getting a lot of response from a lot of people. In fact, a lot of people have joined and they're just sending me messages. So if this shows the popularity of PhD program, and I really like to thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sodhi, for all that encouragement and remarks, which are there for the growth of the industry, growth of the Ayush sector, and of course, the growth of the chamber and growth for all of us put together. With more than 74, 75 participants, I think, we have a wonderful panel today. I think people involved in research, development, innovation with one of the top brands in the country. So we have a wonderful panel today. And before I invite them, I must thank our sponsors, Ayush Herbs and Amam, for sponsoring the series of webinars which we are doing, which actually makes it possible for us to be able to come together on this platform and interact and exchange knowledge and information. Thank you, Ayush Herbs, and thank you very much, Amam. With this, let me go to Dr. Rajiv Rai, who is the head of research back at Dabur India. And I'm sure, Dabur has been always at the forefront for new products, innovations, and of course, you have one of the biggest research laboratories. So over to you, Rajiv Rai ji. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Vivek ji. And can I share a PPT here by using the share screen option? I hope my screen is visible to everyone. Is it visible to everyone?
Yes, Dr. Rajiv Rai. Excellent.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So, very good evening to Triguda ji, Multani ji, Arvind ji, Dr. Vijender, and Dr. Joshi, and other participants. The topic given to me for the discussion is for regarding the opportunities, entrepreneurship opportunities in the Ayush sector. And being an expert in the field of Ayurveda, I will focus more on the Ayurveda sector, you can say. So the opportunities areas which are available for the entrepreneurship are especially in the field of academics and research, manufacturing area, or you can see industry area, service sector, cultivation, and the total volume for the opportunities in all the 4 areas for 80,000 crore rupees. This is a tentative approximate figure, but it is around about 80,000 crore. So this is a big amount which the entrepreneur can have the opportunity for with their in their kitty for opportunity. So
Senior Vice President, sorry for this interruption, Dr. Rai. I just received a call from Dr. Nesri. He's just joining us. Please continue, Dr. Rai.
So thank you and welcome to Dr. Nesri, and very good evening to Dr. Nesri also from Dr. Rajiv. So the first area where the opportunities can be made by the entrepreneurs in the field of academics and research. So first of all, we can go for an Ayurvedic teaching institute, and necessarily it will be having the postgraduate teaching center. And we can have the research institute where we can develop the products based on the evidences created for the safety and efficacy of the product. So we can say that the products are evidence-based products, and we can market them from their end also, and we can sell as such the product to the other companies as a 3P seller. So the good option and opportunities available in this area, and a lot of companies are getting the product developed and research at 3P research organizations. So, and as a research organization, they can work for generation of safety and efficacy data for others' product also. This is also a good opportunity. So as a CRO, they can develop the safety and efficacy data for the others' product. So this is the first opportunity which entrepreneurs can opt. Another opportunity is there in the manufacturing industry. So we can start, our entrepreneurs can start a WHO GMP qualified in manufacturing setup, and that setup can be for marketing of their product at their own or as a third party to facilitate and sell the product for others also. So the products should be exportable and demand based, and the manufacturing qualities should be state of the art, and all the facilities and quality control should be there, so that all the claims on the part of quality and various other aspects of the product can be easily made. And the areas which can be discovered having the broader target groups for the therapeutic areas, these are the metabolic disorders which are having the broader target groups, and the medicines for these broader target groups can be developed, especially for hypertension, joint pain, diabetes, thyroid, and the herbal juices which are very much in limelight nowadays, especially for the immunity boosting and various other purposes. Even the powders or churans of the Ayurvedic herbs can be developed, and they can be launched, and they are going to have the big opportunity for the entrepreneurs. And herbal cosmetics and toiletries are also going to have the big opportunity for the entrepreneurs in the future. Ayurvedic Ahar is another category which is going to be emerged very soon in the FSSAI regulations. And in this category, we can launch the product, or we can develop the product in low GI and fiber food category. These are going to have big opportunity for the entrepreneurs in the future. And in FSSAI category, we can also launch the product and develop the product in the nutraceutical category, which with the help of Ayurvedic ingredients, and by combining Ayurvedic ingredients with minerals and vitamins. This is going to be the unique combination, and it is going to have a very big acceptance in the society, and larger people are waiting for these kind of formulation. So these kind of formulation are going to be in limelight in future. Herbal extract dry powder manufacturing is also going to be a big opportunity for entrepreneurs in the future. And by claiming the quality of the marker and their strength in the herbal extract dry powders, entrepreneurs can have the big opportunity in the future. So this is one of the major opportunity area for the entrepreneurs. And intermediate regulation is also going to be in the process. It is there in the draft regulation of DNC Act. And if it is going to come into the force, certainly the opportunity in the area of intermediate manufacturing will also be there. So any manufacturer can manufacture the Prakshep for the Chyawanprash, or they can manufacture the Pisti for the Chyawanprash, or they can manufacture the concentrated wet extract for different formulations. So opportunity area is going to be in this field also. The entrepreneurs can go for manufacturing of the different equipments which are not commonly available in the market, especially for the Panchkarma, Sneha and Svedan, and various other procedures which are adopted commonly by the physician and Ayurvedic hospitals. So there is opportunity in this area also. In service sector, we can think for opening of hospital, which should be linked with the tourism, and the situation and location of the hospital will certainly have the benefit for the tourism, and if it is going to have the better and location in a less green area or pollution free area, especially in the hilly area or in the state of Kerala, this can be linked with the tourism. And in this hospital, we can go for the generalized treatment, and we can go for the Panchkarma treatment also, and pre-Panchkarma activities like Snehan Svedan. Along with Panchkarma, we can think of Char Sutra, Sirodhara, Siroveda, and Rakt Mokshad. These are the steps which are very much discussed and taught in the Ayurveda, but nobody is taking care for opening up the clinic for the Char Sutra, Siroveda, Sirodhara, Rakt Mokshad. These are going to be in limelight in future, and Char Sutra is very much important, and they have a lot of opportunity for the entrepreneurs especially. So along with the regular treatment, we can have the other treatments like pre-Panchkarma, and we can even think for the post-Panchkarma stages also. So in service sector, we can have a hospital and various other clinics. And one of the most important weakness of the Ayush sector is the availability of genuine and sustainable supply of the raw material. And this is the biggest problem here in the Ayush sector. And most of the companies are not getting the proper genuine raw material in sufficient quantity. And there is always a shortage, or you can say the problem of the availability of the genuine raw material. Especially the exotic, or you can say the high altitude raw materials are not available in the plenty. So there is a big opportunity of entrepreneurship in the cultivation also. So entrepreneurs can think of doing cultivation for high demand, endangered and non-sustainable costly herbs, especially the things like Ativisa, Chiraita and Kalmeg. These kind of herbs are in high demand. They can also think for the aromatic herbs. They can also think for the honey and ghee, which are not available in the market with the right grade and right quality. So these are also the big opportunity areas for the entrepreneurs. And the claims like organic or pesticide-free, non-GMO, genuine germ plasm basis ID or DNA profile, and the quantification of markers in the raw material or the various other things are going to be the big claims in the future. So these kind of claims and going to be big, and they will be in the limelight, and they will be the qualification criteria for the various industries and for the general public also. So these are the areas where the entrepreneurship opportunities are available, especially in the Ayurveda sectors. And this is going to be a big opportunity, because earlier it was thought that the total opportunity available in the Ayush sector is around 30,000 crore only. But as per the latest estimate, I think it is around 80,000 crore. So it is a big opportunity, and very defined areas are there, and the entrepreneurs can very easily tap these opportunities. So this was all from my side, and very good, very big thanks for from my side, and will be available there in the question and answer session for any queries if there.
Thank you, Dr. Rajiv Rai. I think you touched a very important aspect of innovation in growth of medicinal plants. I think in the agriculture sector, because that is what will actually bring in a lot of quality as well as innovation in the entire ecosystem. As I was saying, Dr. Nesri has joined, but apparently we are trying to figure out some technical snag in actually getting him into the panel, so which is just being done. May I now request Dr. But he's definitely listening to us, to all of us and these presentations, because he's currently in the attendees list. So we're just making that correction. So in the meanwhile, may I now request our next guest speaker, Dr. Santosh Joshi, Senior General Manager of Research and Development at Hamdard Laboratories. It'll be great to hear from you, Dr. Joshi, about what you're doing back at Hamdard and how can we actually take the next step forward for innovation. Over to you, please.
Good afternoon. Honorable Padma Bhushan Vaidya Devendra Tribhunaji, President AMAM, Mr. Pradeep Multani ji, Senior Vice President, PSD Chamber, Mr. Arvind Vachaswi ji, Chair Ayush Committee, PSD Chamber and Managing Director, Sri Sri Tattva, Mr. Jitendra Sodhi ji, Co-Chair Ayush Committee, PSD Chamber and Managing Director, Ayush Herb Private Limited, Mr. Vivek Sahgal ji, Assistant Secretary General, PSD Chamber, all leadership team members of PSD Chamber, all panelists and participants. Namaskar and good afternoon. I am representing Hamdard About Us India Medicine Division, and we are really thankful to PSD Chamber for taking all initiatives for uplifting Ayush system of medicine under the able leadership of Sri Pradeep Multani ji and organizing such webinars, which gives us an opportunity to share our views for enriching the Ayush system. We are grateful to Vaidya Devendra Tribhunaji for the brief elaboration on innovation and entrepreneurship in Ayush sector. We are thankful to our Honorable Prime Minister and Ayush Ministry for providing continuous support to Ayush industries for growth in domestic as well as in export market. It is rightly said, adverse times are also times of creativity and innovation. Since last year, after COVID-19 pandemic, we are living in tough times. We have faced first wave and we have also faced the second wave. And now we are afraid of the third wave. Such adverse situations can also bring the best in the innovation front in the traditional medicine systems. Already we have seen during first wave, people relied only on traditional system of medicines as there was no vaccine, no treatment available, and people got relieved through traditional system only. We have seen various innovative products during this COVID time, and a lot of clinical trial has been done on traditional system of medicine, whether it is Ayurveda, Siddha or Unani system. We have also conducted clinical trial and some encouraging results we have obtained. The results are under compilation. So it is really remarkable that until vaccination was not available, people relied only on Ayush products for preventive measures. Science, technology and innovation, these are three things which we have to rely on, and if we have to go for global marketing of our products, there is no shortcut. We have to develop new products based on modern science, and it is important to mention here that pharmaceuticals like allopathy has progressed in a short span only because of validated research and advanced techniques. We also have to realign many of the ancient practices and give higher focus on the use of modern science, technology and innovation in product development and practices by adopting new advances in pharmacology and phytochemistry. Government research institutions and leading Ayush industries have to play major role in such technology guided advancement in the system. Traditional medicine approach, we all know that we always talk about boosting the immune system of our body. This alone may not be sufficient to tackle new epidemics, as humans also require time to develop immunity to new diseases caused by a new bacteria or a new virus. We have to cover both immunity boosters and curative medicines in our treatment approaches. This kind of positive and open approach to science is possible only through innovation. For better acceptance of traditional medicine as a main health care system, we have to create confidence in people's minds, and this is possible only by adopting modern scientific approaches and becoming innovative. We have to upgrade the status of the system. Currently, it is recognized as traditional system of medicine and home remedies as per WHO. From there, we have to take it to formal scientific healthcare system. As per Drug and Cosmetic Act 1940, the Indian system of medicine drugs are those formulations as described in the authoritative books of Ayurveda, Siddha or Unani type system of medicine, or formulations containing only such ingredients as mentioned therein. There are around 59 texts of Ayurveda, 31 of Siddha and 14 of Unani type system of medicine books which are approved in Drug and Cosmetic Act. But this does not prevent further research or application of new technologies and development of innovations in the system. In fact, the category patent or proprietary medicine mentioned in the section 2H itself opens the way for innovation. We can use ingredients mentioned in these books and we can formulate a new product. But the time has come when we have to revisit our Drug and Cosmetic Act, because the condition what we mentioned over there, that the sweeteners, the artificial sweeteners, which can be used only for patent and proprietary products. Vaidyas and Hakims, they prescribe the medicines mostly from the classical text. So many medicines, especially in Unani system of medicine, there are Mazoon, Khamira. These preparations are being produced where sugar is being used at the concentration of 70% or 80%. Considering the lifestyle diseases currently people are facing, like diabetes, it is very difficult to prescribe this kind of formulations. So we have to give some revisit to our guidelines, what we have given, that in patent and proprietary, we can use low calorie sugar, or we can use alternate like sucralose or any other ingredient which are sugar free. But in classical medicines, there is no such advantage. So we have to revisit the guidelines, and we have to give relaxation in the norms. Similarly, in other medicines of Unani system, where we are using gold and silver in good amount. So because of use of gold and silver, these medicines become very costly and it is not affordable to common men. So there also, there is a need for innovation to develop alternative variants of medicines. As rightly said by other panelists, that there is a need to incorporate more potent kind of ingredients in formulating these medicines, like herbal extracts can be used for formulating these formulations, and the herbal extract must be included in the pharmacopoeias. In current scenario, only raw material monographs are available in our Ayurvedic and Unani pharmacopoeia, while extracts are included in Indian pharmacopoeia. So a separate pharmacopoeia version of Ayurveda or Unani need to be prepared, where standardization of herbal extracts should be mentioned, and that can be referred by the drug manufacturers. So, so lot of opportunities are there for innovation in herbal products, and there is a need to cohesive effort by government agencies, private industries, and academia to make it more scientific and relevant as per requirement of modern medicine. So with these words, I will thanks to PhD Chamber for giving an opportunity to participate in this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Doshi. I think two specific points which I could pick up were, of course, let us look at, or rather have a relook at the guidelines. And I think Dr. Nesri joined it exactly at the right time when you were making this suggestion. And of course, how we can innovate against elements like gold and silver, which are very expensive when it comes to use of those medicines by common man. So a warm welcome to our chief guest for today, Dr. Manoj Nesri. Sir, thank you very much for joining us. Indeed a pleasure. I can understand the strain you must be going through, because we heard from your office and you also told me that you've been in a meeting since 11 o'clock in the morning, a WebEx meeting. So, so therefore it becomes all the more important for us to thank you from our heart and souls that you could still find time and the effort to join us on this very important webinar on innovation and entrepreneurship, which you are spearheading at the ministry and about which we learned through the last interaction with the Special Secretary, Shri Pathak ji. So just to brief you in, of course, we had the welcome address from our Senior Vice President, Mr. Pradeep Multani. We also had the industry remarks from Mr. Varchasvi ji. We also heard from our honorable guest, as who always, graces the platform by his benign presence, Shri Vaidya Triguna ji, Padma Bhushan Vaidya Triguna ji. And thereafter, we've had a presentation by Dr. Rajiv Rai, and now we just heard Dr. Joshi. So I think one of the key things, which of course we will send you the minutes of the meeting, but Dr. Rajiv Rai talked about was how can we look at innovation in agriculture, growing of medicinal plants. That could be also a very important area to improve the medicines. So much so from my side, we also had the industry remarks from our co-chair, Mr. Jitendra Sodhi. I think, may I request Dr. Vijendra Prakash to hold on for a while, because we'd like to hear Dr. Manoj Nesri. And of course, we will all have a chance to get into some kind of a discussion once we hear from you, sir. So a warm welcome and over to you, please.
Thank you, Saigalji. To begin with, I'm really extremely sorry from the bottom of my heart for not being able to join right from the beginning in this program. And I missed the speech of Multani ji and Triguna ji and Arvind ji, the initial part of this. I'm really extremely sorry for that. And that was because some important meeting, and actually I was chairing that, and it was going since 10:30 in the morning till actually you talked to me just few minutes back. And this actually would have been possible to join this since actually you were chasing me continuously and to my office. So I'm really sorry for that. But this is actually a really very important topic that you have chosen to discuss. And I did actually listen to Dr. Rajiv Rai and to Dr. Santosh Joshi. And I agree with their suggestions that the pharmacopoeia, it has to be further upgraded. In fact, we had been working with the for other countries, especially the US pharmacopoeia, to upgrade the quality of the Indian pharmacopoeia so that it can be accepted worldwide. And once actually the pharmacopoeia is recognized formally worldwide, obviously it will facilitate the export of products. So that is the thought process. And I, in person as well as officially from the ministry, we agree that there is a lot of scope for the improvisation in the pharmacopoeia. So having said this, there is a lot of scope in the innovation and integrating the technology in the Ayush sector as a whole, or in all the aspects, whether it is the plantation, whether it is related to the manufacturing techniques, whether it is related to the diagnostic techniques. At the same time, integrating the technology and the concepts which are mentioned in Ayurveda or Siddha or these systems, and that will give a new vision to the modern science as well. I'm not saying the modern medicine, I'm saying the modern science. So whether it is the biophysics, whether it is the biochemistry, it is the molecular biology. So even because you know that the Ayurveda biology is a program which the government of India had launched some time back, but somehow it couldn't actually gather the focus. It was being run by the DST. And after that, the ministry tried to take over the Ayurveda biology, and we also tried to integrate the technology. And with this, we tried to develop one more a mega scheme called as the Integrative Ayurveda Biology Program. So this is actually in the still in the formation phase. We have to get the approvals from the various ministries, but this is the thought process of the ministry. And through this, actually, we will try to integrate the various aspects of technology with the Ayurveda, whether it is the technology, whether it is the technology related to the biological advances, whether it is related to the artificial intelligence and the IT part. So all these various technologies which are being very popular and which are being actually driving force behind the economy. So we want to actually integrate all these various aspects into Ayurveda. And as you know that the Prime Minister has the vision, Prime Minister has identified the Ayush sector as the most the potential factor having the growth to the economy. So Ayush can actually give a lot of contribution to the country's economy. In the recent reformation of the cabinet, everybody, you have observed that the Prime Minister has given more focus on those ministries where actually there is maximum potential is there, which is not yet more exploited. Say for example, the Ayush definitely has a lot of potential, as well as the shipping is the area having a lot of potential. So likewise, the inland waterways has a lot of potential. So all these areas, they have a lot of potential for the economic growth. And that's why the Prime Minister actually has given more emphasis on these various ministries to further actually give the boost to the economy. So while doing so, the Department of Science and Technology, the Prime Minister has actually retained with himself to monitor and to take the review, because he is having a lot of this thrust on the science and technology, especially in this COVID pandemic, the importance of science and technology as well as the Ayush. So it came very much forward, and as you know that we tried to collaborate with the CSIR as well as the DST and DBT, and 124 different clinical trials as well as the other research, whether they are the preclinical, whether they are the only laboratory research, so that we launched in the country since last almost 1.5 years, and now some of the research they have completed. The results are really outstanding. I'm happy to share with you that regarding the Ayush 64, you might have actually read the papers, the early papers in which the docking studies were done. And in the docking studies, out of 36 phytochemicals, 35 they are shown active against this COVID virus. So these were the initial trends, and with that we actually started conducting the other studies and the clinical trials, in which we found that it is actually acting against the coronavirus, and then clinically it is useful in the mild to moderate condition of the COVID. So it is one aspect of the integrating the technology, but at the same time there is a lot of scope for integrating technology. The initiative is the Government of India and especially the Ministry of Ayush has taken, and it is the part of the SGOS technology, that is the group of secretaries for the technology. And in this group of technology, we have taken the challenge that we would go for the Ayurveda as, or the Ayush as a next generation medicine, or the rejuvenation medicine, or the regenerative medicine. So these new fields the Ministry of Ayush would definitely like to explore and promote the potentials of Ayurveda with the integration of the technology. So while doing so, the important aspect is the capacity building and the training. And for the capacity building and training of the Ayush doctors as well as the scientists from the cell biology and the other systems, so it requires integration. And for this particular integration, now we are working along with the CSIR, and we are working towards developing the integrative programs for the training and education of the different levels, whether it is the CME only for the 7 days or 15 days, just to sensitize about the modern trends, modern technology, so which will be available for the Ayush postgraduates and the researchers. So once the awareness is actually created, it will give to many thought process, and that will create the integration. At the same time, the awareness about the Ayush systems and the strengths, so that will be given to the basic scientists. So it is not expected that within 7 days they will become expert of Ayurveda or Siddha or Unani. It is just to sensitize that which are the areas, and once actually we identify that these are the areas, maybe few scientists they will become more interested in certain aspect of the Ayush systems, and then actually it will potentiate the further collaborative research. So this is an actually effort to promote the collaborative research, to promote the integration. So this is one part that we are working with the CSIR and the Department of Science and Technology. At the same time, we are working with the IITs and the All India Institute of Ayurveda. They have already signed an MOU with the IIT Delhi. They also have signed the MOU with the IGAB, that is the Institute of Genomics and Integrative Biology. The RAV has signed an MOU with the BHU IIT. And with the BHU IIT, now the effort is to promote the integrative PhD. So the person having the background of Ayurveda or Unani or Siddha, so those who are having MD qualification in the Ayurveda, so they can have the opportunity to undertake PhD program in IIT BHU. So this will be an integration of the technology. Say for example, the Rasishastra person, So he will do the PhD in the metallurgy of the from the IIT BHU. So where actually he will understand the various techniques which are required and which are being followed by the Ayurveda also, but we don't know why actually it is done. So say for example, Taile Takre Gawa Mutre Kanje Kenava Adib, a process of Shodhana which is being followed, but what is the scientific reasoning behind that? And likewise, there are many more things in the metals and minerals which are there, the part of the metallurgy department of the IITs. So we can utilize that knowledge. So this is the thought process. So likewise, those who are from the basic sciences or those who are from the Dravya Gun, so they can go for the PhD in pharmacology. So that kind of integration we are doing. At the same time, we are also promoting for the biomedical engineering. So it is the integration of the biomedical engineering and Ayurveda, that why the if Ayurveda can be cannot be the part of the biomedical engineering. Ultimately, Ayurveda is also a biomedical science, and the engineering has to be actually integrated with the Ayurveda, and that's why this biomedical engineering branch of the IIT BHU. So there also now the provision is there. We actually launched the advertisement also, and we have received many applicants or those who are aspirant for this kind of integration in the higher level of the education. So this is one aspect. At the same time, the technology means not necessarily the hardcore science, but then the other science part. Say for example, the social science. So in the conventional understanding, when we say science, it is only the biology or chemistry, but then we don't consider the social science as a science, but it is again a kind of science. So this kind of doctoral and postdoctoral program that we have launched, the fellowships we have launched through the RIS. RIS is an institute under the Ministry of External Affairs. And in this collaboration, we established the Foundation for Indian Traditional Medicine. So it is the FITM. So through FITM, we launched this kind of fellowships, whether they are basically to understand that what are the economic factors, what is the health economy. So health economics is an entirely different actually a ball game, and nothing about the health economics is taught to the Ayurveda graduates or the Siddha graduates in their graduation program. And we thought that let us actually integrate this part as well. So it is not just science, but a different knowledge systems, because the economics is very important. And unless and until we understand the economics of Ayurveda, the economics of a particular traditional medicine system of medicine, so we won't be able to further design the roadmap and the policies and the strategies to expand. So this is also very important aspect, and that's why we started working on that. And we are now encouraging the research scholars, whether they are from the economic side, whether they are from the botany side, whether they are from different sides. So let them actually work on the Ayurveda, let them work on the given problem, and they will give us a solution. So this is again the another path that we have adopted, and because of that we have started this fellowship. At the same time, we are also working with the theme called as Ayurtech. So Ayurtech is the term that we have coined, and this is the actually integration of the Ayurveda and technology. And the 2 meetings of that, the Ayurtech has already been concluded, and we are working in this direction, that how actually we can consolidate the concept of Ayurtech. Regarding the integrative medicine, the Niti Aayog, they constituted a committee, and in the integrative medicine, we have gone way beyond the conventional concept of integrating Ayurveda and the allopathic medicine. Here, actually, the concept is that the integration of all the various knowledge systems, they should be there along with Ayurveda. So whether it is the science background, whether it is the allopathic medicine, whether it is the IT, so all that, whether it is the engineering, so that should be there. And this the policy on the integrative medicine or the integrative Ayurveda, so that is being developed under the Niti Aayog. So this integration is now being actually tried in all levels. At the same time, we are also integrating, we are also collaborating with various ministries, whether it is the Ministry of Health, whether it is the Ministry of WCD, whether it is Ministry of Education, whether it is the Niti Aayog. So various ministries, the Ministry of MSME. So we are integrating very closely and working with the various ministries. So this integration is going in a very good way, and especially with the vision of the Prime Minister and the emphasis of Prime Minister on the Ayurveda and Yoga as a soft power and the export of services. With this thought process, there is a lot of boost which has actually received for this integration process. And at this particular moment, you have actually brought in this program on this innovation and integration. So I really congratulate to PhD for going along with the vision of the Prime Minister. And let us actually conduct these kind of programs time and again, and let it be not limited only to the industries, but I would suggest you that you bring these programs to the college students. They should actually know that what is the integration and how the integration it can be done. What are the success stories? Because I heard the two the leaders just now, and there would be many more, those who have already done the integration in the pharmacy, the Ayurveda pharmacy or the Ayurveda pharmaceutics. So the students, they should understand what kind of integration that already has been done and where they will go. The another aspect is that through this integration, we want to promote the entrepreneurship. And the entrepreneurship is one of the agenda that Ministry of Ayush has identified. And for that, now we have working on promoting the startup in the Ayush sector. 2 rounds of meetings we have already conducted with the Ayush industry, and now one more meeting will be conducted to further design the concept of developing the startups in the Ayush sector. And if not the startup only in the Ayush sector, but at the same time, those startups which are already working, so how actually we can stimulate them to work on the various problems related to the Ayush system that the Ayush industry is facing. So this is the area where actually we are working to promote the entrepreneurship. We are working on generating the investment in the Ayush sector, how actually we can bring the investment in the Ayush sector, whether from the different companies, not only those which are already in the Ayush sector, say for example, the Multani or Himalaya or the Dabur or these, but even beyond that, those which are not directly actually in the Ayush sector, but those who may be actually sympathetic to the Ayush sector. So how actually we can encourage them to bring the investment in the Ayush sector? There could be the franchise investors could be there, there could be foreign clients could be there. So this is the actually thought process of the ministry, and we are working on this direction that we can bring the more investment, we can generate the job opportunities, we can generate the entrepreneurship in the Ayush sector, and we can integrate the technology. So this is an overall the thought process I thought that I should share with you in a very, very short time. So I'm really very much thankful to you for giving me opportunity to share the thoughts of the ministry with the industry. And we should join hand very strongly and let us take all this thought process in actually converting into the action. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Nesri. You are always so supportive, and we understand your busy schedule, and still you are with us. So kind of you. We really appreciate your encouragement and support to the Ayush industry and sector. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Nesri. I think I had my pad almost full writing everything, whatever you were talking about, and I'm sure I missed out a few points, but we do have a recording. But now we know why the ministry actually needs 2 ministers, sir. The umpteen number of things which you talked about, you started off with the improvisation of pharmacopoeia, capacity building with CSIR for sensitizing people, programs with IIT Delhi, BHU IIT for biomedical engineering, doctoral programs and postdoctoral programs, which are for fellowship with through RIS, IUTech, and very key point which you, I think, definitely, and we will definitely work on it as to how we can take it to the students, so that they can know how can integration work. So we will take it out there as well. So thank you so much. And please, sir, please.
Yeah, one important point which I would like to share with you, that the ministry is working very closely with the Poshan Abhiyan, the Poshan 2 and the WCD ministry, and we are hoping that the Ayush component will be strongly integrated in the Poshan, and that will be a huge opportunity for the Ayush industry. And it is not only giving opportunity to the Ayush industry, but at the same time, the backward linkage going toward the cultivation of the various medicinal plants. Because if suppose the Hingvashtak churun is to be given in entire all the Anganwadi workers of Anganwadis, then what would be the quantity of Hingvashtak churun to be manufactured? And for that, how much actually raw material will be required? So that is another area, it's a huge opportunity, and it is we are working on that, and it is almost consolidated, I would say.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I think that this is what is actually needed, and almost 85 participants, listening to all this, they were keen to hear from you, so therefore it underlines the need for you to be here, so that you can explain us the wonderful things which we are doing at the ministry, and we can actually as an industry participate in it. So with that, I'd like to go back to Dr. Vijendra Prakash. Thank you very much for waiting. And I'm sure, I think it might have ignited some more ideas after Dr. Nesri's talk, which you may like to touch upon or take back home for back at Himalaya. So over to you, Dr. Vijendra Prakash, for your remarks. Senior General Manager, R&D. He is General Manager of Himalaya Drugs. Dr. Vijendra Prakash, I present to you, ladies and gentlemen. Over to you.
Thank you, Vivek ji. Well, it was great listening to Dr. Manoj Nesri ji. I mean, as you rightly said, there's plenty of things which is happening in the Ministry of Ayush, and it's just a beginning, I suppose. And we, as a Ayush fraternity, I think we should be grateful to the ministry that they are doing so many things, and we are in the right direction, and a great platform for the ministry to share their ideas. And thank you, Dr. Manoj Nesri ji. Respected Chair, Multani ji, panelists, everyone, warm evening to all of you. So I'm just sharing my presentation on. So I hope people are able to see this. Is this visible? Or okay.
Yeah, we can see it. Please go ahead.
So let me begin my presentation by this photo, which many of the people still today, unfortunately, in our own competitive, medicinal field, or from a different industry perspective, when they think of Ayurveda, they feel Ayurveda is still a kitchen medicine, which is a very it's a myth or an improper understanding of that particular individual or a professional. Where were we earlier? We were being looked as an alternative system of medicine, and then the word supplementary came in. We were looked as a supplementary system of medicine. The term supplementary later on became complementary, and it was then dominated by wellness or a natural medicine. And today we are at a stage where Ayush has become an allied healthcare, and time is not, short. It will be soon the mainstream healthcare system of India. Now, where do I come from is the market analysis and insights. What is the global Ayurvedic product market? It is valued at $4.5 billion US in the year 2017, expected to reach $15 billion by 2026 at a CAGR growth of 16.14%. So this market is just the reason why newer innovation, newer ideas has to come in from all the youngsters or people who are listening to this particular webinar. What more do we have? I mean, a man who is having a vision by his heart to propagate Ayurveda as a frontline medicine. He took yoga to the international forum, the International Yoga Day, which is already being celebrated every year by many of the countries, and now is the right platform to innovate, bring in new ideas, and generate more market for the Ayush system of medicine. So where are the areas where the innovations can happen? It may be Ayush services. One of my favorite, treatment in Ayurveda is Panchkarma, which will definitely have a big game to play in the services sector. So if people are looking at Panchkarma, please don't just think that Panchkarma is all about 5 different treatments and you'll have to do all the 5 different treatments. It can be just a single treatment. You can take it to the next level, Snehana, Svedana, or fermentation, or even individual treatments like Basti. You can specialize on one particular treatment and attack a particular disease which can, which can be nullified or treated completely, cured completely. Now you have Ayurveda daycare centers, which is an excellent opportunity which is initiated by the Ministry of Ayush in this pandemic care. So I at least got to know that there were many daycare centers in the allied science or allopathic care where they were charging almost about 20,000 rupees per day just for a daycare center. So why don't we innovate and make more Ayush daycare centers at a more cost benefit, rates for some of the patients who can't afford allopathic system of medicines. Then we need to really innovate in areas, something like specialty medicines. I was speaking to one of the doctors just today who specializes only in sports medicine, and he's a qualified Ayush doctor. So, Aman, this was really a triggering idea for me. Why don't we invest our ideas in sports medicine, joint care, neuro care, only cardio care? I'm sure Jiva Ayurveda is doing a lot of research in cardio care. And we will have to invent such thoughts in definitely specialty medicines, which is the future talk. Ayurveda tourism, Kerala, of course, is a big state which is banking upon Ayurveda tourism, where you have yoga being practiced and taught, or awareness program is given to many of the tourists. You have a lot of preventive centers that can be, brought into innovation, make foreigners come into our country and give them a lot of preventive awareness as well as treatments, so that they go back, carried back to their country, and they bring back more customers to this sector. Coming to products, it's a never-ending game for innovations. Like from discovery, we don't need to make open up a company which caters to all the areas, but we can only open up companies which focus on only discovery of new molecules or new phytofractions, which can be patented and sold off, or you can improvise these patents over a period of time. You have like China supplying a lot of raw materials. So why don't we have a discovery company that can open up a lot of phytofractions, which can be sold to bigger companies. You have formulation and development, which is another core area where companies can invest, startups can invest into this area, formulate and develop a standardized formulation which can be then sold off. Suppose, for example, cosmetics as a semi-finished formulations is available in countries like Thailand and Malaysia, where companies can go buy that particular formulation and then put their brands on it. You have areas in preclinical and clinical pharmacology. You can completely have a GLP certified preclinical lab, or you can own up an Ayurveda center that completely does a clinical study and as per the protocols issued by the Ministry of Ayush. Or starters can also think of marketing, which are those marketing areas where you can help the companies look into e-com platforms or WhatsApp or Facebook. There's so many areas marketing spreads to. So the innovation and the new startups can really look into these areas. As my colleagues in the previous talked about medical devices. Why don't we invest into Ayurveda medical devices and help the clinical practitioners to give a ready-made devices that helps in their treatment. So with this, there is endless areas where people can look into when we are talking of let's say 15 or 20 billion dollar Ayush sector heading to reach by 2025, 26. So these are some of the thoughts which I wanted to share. Thank you once again, PhD, for letting me speak on this innovation topic. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful presentation, Dr. Vijender Prakash. I think key takeaways, which you actually very clearly enumerated in terms of where we can have innovation. I'm sure it must be giving all the participants a lot of ideas and thoughts and igniting their thought processes for innovation. So, in fact, there are some questions which I'm seeing in the Q&A session, which I would definitely like to take up with the panelists and, of course, our chief guest. Before that, I would just like to mention once again that we would like to thank our sponsors, Ayush Herbs Private Limited, as well as Amam, for continuously supporting PhD Chamber for making these webinars happen. So with this, I go into the Q&A session. And before that, let me also read out some of the chat messages which have been really acknowledging the wonderful presentations which have been given by all the panelists. And of course, one especially coming for Dr. Manoj Nesri. And as I said, he had some wonderful thoughts to share with us during his talk and presentation. So the first question seems to be from Astha Setia. He says, hello, thank you for the webinar. What is the best way to contact someone for development of new formulations? Also, does Ayush department, and I think she means the ministry. So also does Ayush ministry conduct webinars for industry norms, research, etc.? So can I request Dr. Nesri to take the second part of the question, please? Or if he's currently not available, I'd like Dr. Santosh Joshi to take up this question, the first part of it, and maybe throw some light on the second part when she's asking what is the best way to contact someone for development of new formulations.
Development of new formulation has to taken up in the R&D center of a company, or it has to be done collaborative in a collaborative project with the help of academia. From government side, I don't know from where they can get assistance, but there are third party who are giving this kind of support for development of formulations. They can contact third party, or if they are having own R&D center, they can develop it of their own.
Okay, okay. And would Dr. Vijender Prakash like to add to that, please?
Well, I pretty much agree with Dr. Santosh Joshi ji that what we'll have to define what is development of new formulation. I mean, it's a very generic area. Am I starting to identify some ingredients where I can stabilize these into a formulation. So you just have to be very clear what do you mean by development of new formulations. First, you will have to know what areas you want to develop into. Then definitely have a professional advice from, if you're an Ayurvedic doctor, you will have to have professional advice from a fellow, fellow panelist or a research person like B Pharma or M Pharma, whether you want to convert this into a conventional dosage form. And you will have to brainstorm the idea and then, contact, as Joshiji rightly said, a particular consultants who definitely give ideas to the startups and make it into a finished form. And you can market it yourself or you can sell it to another company who's interested to buy your product. So I hope that answers the question.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Vijayendra. I think let me just try and give an attempt to her second part of the question. I'm not too sure about conducting of webinars, but I think Dr. Nesri today talked about a lot of these collaborations which they are doing with educational institutions and working on things together. So that could be one opportunity. The other thing which I can suggest to you, Astaji, is that do keep following our webinars because there's a lot of information and exchange of knowledge which happens on these platforms, which can also put you in touch with people who can actually help you develop new formulations. In case you have any specific query on that, please do send us a detailed mail. We'll try and answer you on that. So then I see Mr. Ajay Yadav. He has a rather long message and he congratulates Dr. Nesri for a beautiful presentation and then says, sir, my query is what to do when a state drug controller write an article on making of cosmetics under the disguise of Ayurvedic license, whereas we have a clear licensing for Ayurvedic Saundara Prasadak. Sir, why I feel alien, why my own department gives me license to make Ayurvedic Saundara Prasadak and the authority from drug controller questions this legitimate status. So, Mr. Yadav, I don't think we can really solve your query on the platform currently, but of course we are, we will definitely like to take it up. Please do feel free to send us a mail. If you are a member, Mr. Yadav, of course, we will like to take it up with the ministry on your behalf. If you are not a member, we will still try to take it up and see how much and how do we can actually help you on this. And we of course have an anonymous attendee. He has not or she has not put in her name and talks about that he or she is looking for an Ayush specialist or a doctor for developing herbal formulations. So if you're anonymous, how will somebody contact you, Mr. or Miss Anonymous attendee? That's my message for you. Goes down to Mr. Dilip Gurnani, who says, would like to have the contact details of some third party who can provide professional assistance, any Ayush, MD or PhD. So please send us a mail on this. We'll try and connect you with people. I have another question from Salil Malhotra. How should one go about validating the medical claims of Ayurvedic formulations? Can we have Dr. Rajiv Rai, if though you're not on the camera, but if you're listening to us, would you like to take this question, please?
Yeah, sure. So validation of the claims can be done by two methodology, adopting two methodology. One is just going for the claims based on the ingredients. This is very soft claims for the product. And especially in case of proprietary medicines, for the validation of claims, you have to conduct studies, at least in vivo studies, and in some of the cases, you have to conduct or you have to go through for the clinical studies. And you cannot make any kind of claims which are under the purview of Drug and Magical Remedy Act. So by adopting these routes, you can validate the claims.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much for clearing the air on that, and it definitely helps, I'm sure, to all those people who were attending the webinars and had these questions. So I don't see any more questions though in my Q&A box. And I think we've had a wonderful discussion today, and a lot of information flow, a lot of knowledge sharing happening on this great platform, which was discussing the innovation and entrepreneurship in the Ayush sector, and the role of the government and the industry on this evening. So with this, I like to close the proceedings, and I'm very happy to note that we have actually kept all the timelines in place today. Thanks to all our presenters, to all our panelists, and of course, all the the special guests. We had the guest of honor, we had the chief guest. So, and very informative things coming across from each one of them, guiding us as to how do we move forward. So I'd like to, on behalf of the chamber and my personal behalf, thank our chief guest, Dr. Manoj Nesri, advisor Ayurveda at the Ministry of Ayush, Government of India, for making it happen. And what he made it happen in the 20 minutes made all the difference. I'm sure everyone will agree with me. And despite his hectic schedule, he kept up to his commitment and joined us. So with folded hands and a large heart, we thank you, Dr. Nesri, for being here this evening with us. My special thanks goes out to Padma Bhushan Vaidya Trigunaji, from whom we always get the guidance and the margdarshan, as like to call it. And we are really indebted to him for encouraging us for all these programs. I'd like to thank Dr. Rajiv Rai. I think wonderful presentation, Dr. Rai. It's actually triggering a lot of thoughts. And I'm sure as the ministry proceeds on this particular aspect, we'll be able to give in a lot of inputs on that. Again, very good thoughts, Dr. Santosh Doshi, giving us a lot of leads as to what we can do. And then, of course, we had Dr. Prakash enumerating the points, wherein we can actually innovate, and then the whole thing becoming being put together very well by all of you. I'd like to thank once again our sponsors, Ayush Herbs and Amam, for supporting the webinars. And I'd like to thank all the attendees who have been so patiently and so actively participating in this. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivek ji. Thank you.